The country called Tanzania is in very serious trouble. Towards the end of last month, the country's main opposition leader, Freeman Mbowe, who is the chairman of the Chadema party, was jailed. That is like jailing Raila Odinga before the handshake. There are very many Tanzanians who are shocked and appalled and very angry at the dictatorial, tyrannical government of John Pombe Magufuli and his policies. Now, why was Mbowe jailed? Well, his bail was revoked. And when your bail is revoked, because bail is what keeps you out of jail, you just end up back in jail. Mbowe was of course jailed with Esther Matiko, or rather they had their bail revoked and were jailed together with this other MP, Chadema MP. Her name is Esther Matiko. They failed to show up in court for a hearing of their case. Now I had somebody who has no idea and no interest about what is going on in Tanzania saying the following: if somebody jumps bail, then contempt of court. Therefore, what do you expect the court to do? And what do I have to say about that? Yes, that is true. However, analyzing this development, in such a short-sighted manner, just limiting yourself to the bail, the revocation of the bail, would be completely failing to understand the situation in Tanzania. The correct question to ask is, why was the main opposition leader in court in the first place? What was he charged with? Is it corruption? Did he embezzle money from public coffers? The answer is no. Was he involved in some other criminal activities? That would sabotage the nation called Tanzania? No. And this is the key point here. These opposition leaders are in court, or rather were originally charged, on trumped up, politically motivated charges. Freeman Mbowe, Esther Matiko, and 7 others are being charged with sedition, incitement to violence, and holding an illegal demonstration in February this year that led to the death of a female student who was killed by a police stray bullet. Now, this in itself is ridiculous. Sample the following. A police officer fires, and that bullet kills a person. And by then, that person was not even demonstrating. That poor young girl was inside a vehicle, inside a matatu. In Tanzania, they're called daladalas. The first question to ask in that instance is, why was this policeman firing at a daladala? Why? But you don't even go there. Instead, you arrest opposition figures. Now, in a democracy, the work of the opposition is to keep the government of the day in check, to oppose that government. A very key balance and check in a democracy. Simply put, President John Pombe Magufuli is harassing and jailing his competition in politics. You're an opposition leader, therefore you're supposed to be very busy checking on the government of the day. So the government of the day does not want any competition, and so they organize for you to be charged. Now, being charged, even if you're released on bail, keeps you very busy, coming back for court appearances all the time. And obviously, you cannot be in 2 places at the same time. Therefore, it greatly hinders your ability to do your work, your constitutional duty to check on the government of the day. Even a charge like illegal demonstration is ridiculous, because as an opposition leader, how can you hold an illegal demonstration? How? How can you be charged with incitement? The naked truth is that actually you're charging opposition leaders for doing their work. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. In fact, if you didn't know, currently in Tanzania, opposition politicians are not allowed to hold public rallies. You know, I wonder sometimes, why doesn't John Pombe Magufuli just declare that Tanzania is a dictatorship? Why doesn't he just say that Tanzania is back to a one-party rule, one-party tyrannical dictatorial rule? Because it's very clear that the Dar es Salaam despot does not want any opposition to his government. So why keep on pretending that you're a democracy? Why? But actually, the story does not end there. What Chadema are saying is that this jailing of their leader is synchronized to draw attention of the public away from what the government is really up to. Something much more damaging than simply jailing an opposition leader. A law is being crafted. In fact, it's at its late stage. Early next year it should be passed into law, giving the registrar of political parties sweeping powers. The new law will allow the registrar of political parties to legally get any information that they want or need from the opposition parties. Now, the long and short of this law is like in a football game where you have a match, soccer. And then the referee forces the losing side to give all their tactics out and to hand over those tactics to the coach of the side that is on the lead. That is, of course, ridiculous. And what it means is that this ceases to be a soccer match and it becomes something else. I don't know what to call it, but it's not a match. Now, what is going to happen next in Tanzania is very predictable, and I'll tell you exactly what is going to happen. The world is a small village, although it's very unfortunate for Tanzania that it has taken a very long time for the world to realize what is happening in the country. And one of the reasons for this is that the government has shut down the free press. There's no press in Tanzania. And some of the journalists who thought that John Pombe Magufuli was joking when he was clamping down on the press have disappeared, presumed dead. Others have had to flee from the country and seek political asylum in foreign Western countries. This is unprecedented. It has never happened before. Even in the days of Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the former president, the founding father of the nation, when the country was single party, not a single journalist fled the country. In fact, even if you read foreign-owned media like the authoritative East African, which is owned by the Nation Media Group and is sold in Tanzania, you'll be shocked. Reports on Tanzania and so-called political analysis on Tanzania all read like press releases from the CCM, the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi. And it is not the fault of the journalists. The truth is they can't dare criticize the government. John Pombe Magufuli is perfect. His CCM party is perfect. You cannot dare criticize them. Why should you criticize a perfect president, superhuman, a god, who knows what is best for Tanzania? What do you know? Just shut up. Indeed, if you have been reading some of the comments on this very channel, on videos that I do on Tanzania, you will realize that what I'm telling you is the truth. Don't criticize our president, he's the best. Solve your problems in Kenya first. We are coming to kill you. Those are the comments which have been appearing on this channel. Anyway, my point is, because of the fact that the media has been shut down completely in Tanzania, it has taken the world a very long time to find out what is really happening in this once peaceful and very admired African country. But finally, the world is starting to wake up. And what has happened is that key foreign donors have withdrawn financial support from Tanzania. Denmark, a very key development partner of Tanzania, has suspended aid. The World Bank has suspended aid to Tanzania. The European Union has done the same. What is going to happen next is very predictable. Now, to illustrate this, let me take you back to Kenya in the 90s, under the one-party dictatorial rule of former President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. Now, Moi had sworn, that the country will never adopt multi-party democracy. Opposition leaders were jailed, or rather detained, innocent Kenyans killed during demonstrations, etc., etc. People are fleeing the country just as they are right now in Tanzania. Dictator Moi tried every trick in the book to keep the country running because foreign donors and development partners had withdrawn from the country. Precisely what is happening right now in Tanzania. Now, I've read some political analysis of the time which claim that Moi finally saw sense. Moi woke up one day and in his wisdom, he decided to restore multi-party democracy in Kenya. Very funny. That is not true. The true position is that lack of foreign aid forced Moi back to the negotiation table. And the foreign donors were waiting, and they were very categorical. They said, fine, you want us to restore aid, then restore multi-party democracy. You want us to work together, then take care of the human rights abuses going on in Kenya. Now, a dictator can never lose face, never ever. And these negotiations at the highest level with donors are normally secret. You will hear diplomats talking about diplomatic back channels. And so when Moi suddenly restored multi-party democracy in Kenya, Kenyans were shocked and very happy. Very few people realized that it was all about the money. It's always all about the money. Exactly what happened in Kenya in the 90s is what is about to unfold in Tanzania. But there's something else you should know. Tanzania is not Kenya. The Kenyan economy, even in those days, was much more diversified. When the foreign currency crunch hit Kenya, as a result of donors withdrawing, many Kenyans started focusing on the horticultural business. Flowers became big business in Kenya. Kenya even exported its highly skilled manpower. Foreign money coming in from Kenyans abroad reached very high figures and became a major foreign exchange earner for the country. But even with all that going on, Moi was forced back into the negotiation table with the donors. The Tanzanian economy, with all due respect to my beloved Tanzanian brothers and sisters, is nowhere near where the Kenyan economy was in the 90s. The Tanzanian economy does not have the same resilience as the Kenyan one. What that means is that the despot John Pombe Magufuli will turn to donors sooner rather than later. Now, if you carefully observe what the Tanzanian government has been doing in recent times, you'll be able to read their mind. Somebody somewhere is making the grave mistake of thinking that aid from China, and increased trade, between Tanzania and other African countries will save the country. Well, let's wait and see. But in my view, it will never work. You know, the big difference between Moi in the 90s in Kenya and John Pombe Magufuli in Tanzania today is the fact that Moi understood one very important key factor, that Pombe Magufuli does not understand. No matter how peaceful, some say cowardly, no matter how peaceful people are, you can never rule and control hungry people. If a human being anywhere in the world misses a few meals, their thinking changes dramatically. Suddenly, they'll be no longer interested in keeping peace. They'll be no longer interested in government propaganda and sustaining it. All they'll be interested in is food, yeah, getting a meal. Now, I'm on the ground in Tanzania very frequently. I don't need to hear anything from anybody. I don't need to be fed information. Yeah, I'm actually on the ground. And I can tell you one thing for sure. Things are very bad in Tanzania. People are getting hungrier and missing more meals. It is only a matter of time, yeah, before the hunger bites to such an extent that the people will rise up and say, no, enough is enough. And my prediction is very simple, yeah. If Tanzania goes through 2019, up to the end of 2019, without a major uprising in the country, I'll be extremely surprised. Until next time, this is Kshs, Kumekucha. In 2005, there was a lot of hopelessness amongst Kenyans. The promises of a new Kenya, the promises of a new beginning that were been given in 2002 during the general elections that had removed KANU from power were dead in the water. Out of those ashes, the Kumekucha brand was born in May 2005 to vent and to fight for a better Kenya, because long-suffering Kenyans have always deserved better. Contrary to propaganda on the web, the Kumekucha blog was never launched as a business enterprise, and through the years it has always been self-financed through some very difficult times. 12 years on and still counting, our basic premise lives on and remains the same. And that's why I'm really excited today to announce this golden new opportunity for you to reach a huge audience in Kenya and all over the world with the brief commercials for your business. They will of course interrupt our videos just like this message you're taking in. And like the Kumekucha videos, they'll be permanent. And what is more, we are so committed to ensuring that you get the results you desire that will allow you to place the spot for free. Yep, you will not pay for it. Yeah? You'll only pay for it when you're fully satisfied with the results. Of course, we'll request a small fee for the video production, but it's a pittance. Are we crazy? Oh no, we are not. We're just very sure that you're going to get a result. I mean, 10 million views is not a joke. Why are we doing this? Of course, it will go a long way in helping us cover our video production costs on this channel, but that's not the reason. That's not the main reason. You can call me naive, but I sincerely believe that the more prosperous businesses we have owned by Kenyans, the easier it will be to push through the changes we want. And by prosperous businesses, I don't mean businesses which make money out of corruption and stealing from public coffers. Those are not businesses, those are criminal enterprises. Anyway, if you have a genuine business, this is a golden opportunity for you, and I recommend that you take it on immediately. Get all the details you require in the video description area on this video on YouTube. Thanks so much for listening to me. All for a better Kenya.